Good evening. Happy Monday. Welcome to another edition of the Opening Kick. As always, I got my man Gerald Smoke Dixon with me, all SEC at Alabama, Buffalo Bill, Scout,
Grey
man
Cup
of
champion in 2005. Like, you gotta give all of that now.
I keep going, man. I do this like Rocky IV, like they did with Apollo Creed, and just keep naming for about 20 minutes all the accolades of my man Smoke Dixon.
Shout out to my man Geroy Simon. Just got the gig over there at the University of Maryland, general manager over all of the athletics in terms of basketball and football. New member of doing all the NIL and contracts right now, man. Geroy Simon, I appreciate this right here, my good brother. We went on the road and had to give you the little small bashing of the Edmonton Eskimos going up there. AC, what up? Shout out to my man Deuce
AC
Carter.
in the house.
We had to do it. So, every time I got to put on a hat just to show the world that at some point we had to give somebody the business.
Love it, man. Man of many hats, always representing. That's the one you got to love about Smoke, man. If you give it to Smoke, he's going to represent it and shout it out. But, man, it's the off season, but we still got a jam-packed show. There is still one big football game left. If you haven't been paying attention, the little thing they call the Super Bowl going on down in New Orleans on Sunday night. I'm sure everybody's getting ready for their Super Bowl parties. So we may talk a little bit of Super Bowl, but not just the Super Bowl. There was a Senior Bowl this last weekend, and, man, they make a big to-do about this All-Star game, and me and Smoke, we're going to discuss all that kind of stuff. Risers, fallers, or all these all-star games even, Mark, that we're going to go over all that stuff. And as always, my man Smoke, I'm sure we'll have a hot take or two to get the crowd fired up. But Smoke is Grubbs, the real deal. With that said, before we get into all that, though, let me give a little bit of love to the people that keep the lights on here at the Bama Standard and the Opening Kick, and that is Lamstone Company. Check them out at realrockstone.com. Look, if you're building a home right now, I know you've driven around, you're building your dream home. You've seen that home and you're like, man, I want that natural stone. I want that look, that old world stone look. No better place than realrockstone.com, and that's Lamstone Company to get your natural stone needs. Any project you have, they can fit it. Go to realrockstone.com. Lamstone is located in Aniana, Alabama. Again, they can fit all your project needs. Tell them we sent you by using the promo code the Bama Standard and receive 10% off your purchase today of stone. Again, if you're building that dream home, it is not complete without Lamstone stone on it. With that said, Smoke, man, all this noise about and all. Did you get enough likes, by the way, last week, followers, whatever, to get the true story on the name Smoke?
And listen, Coach G.V. Dixon. Follow, and I'll give you the 1,000% truth of why they call me the real Smoke.
And while you're doing that, hit like and subscribe here. Come on over if you're on Twitter X. Come on over to YouTube. Come to Bama Standard. Hit like and subscribe because we got a full week worth of awesome content. And coming in with the super chat. Thank you, Ann. I think you're always here with us. $4.99 super chat. Also helping keep the lights on here at the Opening Kick. With that said, Smoke, man, everybody's making a big hubbub over the Senior Bowl this week. And, man, I'd almost forgotten about these games, but it seems here in recent years they've become a big deal again. Look, last night they talked about Milroe and how, so we may get into that. Winners and losers of this thing. Are there winners and losers? Can you move up in these games, Smoke?
Absolutely. You can move. So you can move up. And a lot of people put more stock into it than I ever did when I worked those games or used the information that I gathered from them. All the All-Star games did for me was confirmation. Right? If I had something on you that was outstanding, a story, and I had to get it from the horse's mouth and I could interview you right then and there, yes. If I heard that you were difficult in team settings in terms of your learning, your ability to learn and apply information on the go, now I want to go over there while you were getting taught. And when the install was going in, can you take what was going from in a classroom to on the field? Can you now adapt and apply all the information and instruction that's given to you in a specific drill, go out and execute it in practice that was different from some technique that you learned in college? So for me, I wanted to if those were some of the issues I had on you, I want to get those clarified. But you know what? Before we even get into this, love Jim Nagy. I think he's one of the most amazing scouts, and he puts on an amazing game in terms of the Senior Bowl. But I saw a tweet last week where it was almost a little beef between him and Eric Galko about who has the best player and which all-star game. Like, come on, fellas, knock it off. There's enough good football players for both East-West Shrine game and the Senior Bowl to get. And it's a love environment. The beefing and the who has the best game and what scouts should show up here, we're all going to show up. Some might want to go to Dallas. Some might want to go down to Mobile. If it's ever in Vegas and I had a choice, yeah, sorry, Senior Bowl, but I ain't coming. I'd rather go to Vegas and hang out in Vegas than go there and hang out in Port City. And I love Mobile. But it's a different place when you talk about Vegas.
I think you made a good point, though. I do think there's an opportunity for some players to go there and pop or maybe show something that you didn't have. I think the kid from UCLA, I mean, like a great example is the Aladejo kid, the edge rusher from UCLA. I'm sure a lot of people on the West Coast knew about him, but we kind of get caught up in ourselves. But he goes down there, and that guy just, I mean, he flashed. I thought he probably did himself a service this week. I thought that the Beck kid from TCU did himself a service. And AC talking about Carson Benson.
Yeah, great story on that kid, too. Shout out to him for pushing through and just persevering through all the hardships in life because he lost his brother when the incident went down in New Orleans.
His brother was the one that jumped in and saved the girl, if I'm not mistaken, right? Gave his life for someone else. Like, no higher deed
didn't go. But listen, I'll draft him just for. But Deuce, you're right. That tackle from Alabama A&M, outstanding week. He helped himself tremendously. And that's what the East-West Shrine and the Senior Bowl, for me, is meant for. If I was around 1 through 3 player, yeah, you're not seeing me at any of those games because I can make up whatever I need to at personal workouts or the combine. But if I was projected round 4 through 7 and I was an FCS lower level kid, Division 1 AA, Division 2, or Division 3, and you needed to see me compete against higher level players on a playing field, yeah, one of those all-star games certainly is your opportunity to get out there and impress and show out. But there are a lot of good young talented guys out there because this is one of the years that juniors come out there and play as well too. And Nagy did a pretty good job of getting a good crew together. And again, scouts love going down to Mobile, hanging out, getting all the information, digging, interviewing, but at some point, I believe these young people are getting overworked.
Yeah.
And this is where, you have too many interviews, too many workouts, too many private workouts. Then you got the combine. Then you got the the Senior Bowl. Then you have every all-star game. At some point, we got to put a limit to these young people that just played 16 games. Like Riley Leonard played 16 games. That's an NFL season. Then leaves the national championship game, and in the next week shows up to Mobile, which is home. He's from Fairhope, which is home, and he participated in that game, but that's a 17-game season. Plus, you got to go do workouts, and then individual workouts, then throw it the combine, because he's one of those later round guys that still needs to prove himself on everything that his deficiencies are.
I think that's a great point, Smoke. And look, it's great for guys like Vincent from AAU, and then or even like the Mike Greens, the edge from Marshall.
So talking to a couple of my guys, I'm gonna read off some of the guys that I watched during the week because again, here's another thing. It's 2025, 2 dimes, 25 cents. Okay, we have the opportunity to watch every single practice rep via PFF, or you just cut on the NFL Network. So it's not like back in when it was 1980 when you have to go play because if you didn't play, a scout from the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Buffalo Bills couldn't get your info, so you wouldn't get evaluated properly. Like this is the easiest thing to get evaluated and to watch game tape. You don't necessarily have to go down to Mobile to get any of this done if you're a scout. But here goes a couple of names that just
but real quick though, to your point about the first rounders, if you're in it not going, there's a couple guys, and maybe you're going to get to it, and we'll get to the guy. Maybe we're going to get to the losers, but there's a couple guys that showed up with possible first round grades. I'm not talking Jalen Milroe. I've got some other names that could have hurt themselves this week.
Yeah, and again, those all-star games, and every single time that you have after you finish playing your collegiate career, the NFL is not trying to help you. They're trying to use everything against you. So be ready to put your best foot forward, but understand that the league wants you for cheap. So if they can get a first-round talent in the second or third round, they're clapping their hands.
Well, Go ahead. No, guys, that's what I was like. So you got guys like Princely, Umami Allen from Ole Miss, or Deion Walker from Kentucky, who show up and have really rough weeks, bad footwork, slipping.
We'll get to those guys. Just keep those guys. Okay. Just hold that question right there. Now, and I'll just get to the risers.
Okay, go
Darius
for it.
Alexander from Toledo gave guys the work, defensive tackle. Your boy Tyler, Louisville quarterback, showed very well down there. Right?
Yeah, he did.
He is going to be in backup quarterback island for life. Ain't no starter, but he'll be a good backup quarterback.
The best job in all of the world. You don't get hit in practice. You hold a clipboard, you get paid.
Listen, it's not bad. You go in for a couple of games and you just do your job and come back. Like, and when you say a backup quarterback, I'm not a back. Well, there's 32. You're not better than those 32. So 33 is not a bad number. But either way, Max Harrison, corner from Kentucky, always loved him, but he was glue on every receiver that he went against. Ty Felton, Maryland. Listen, I've been saying it for years. What Mike Locksley has going on at the University of Maryland, the talent that comes out of the DMV, guys better open your eyes up and pay special attention to it. Because every year as a scout, I always wanted to go down to the University of Maryland. I knew there was somebody going to be there that's going to just wow me with their measurables, and when you cut the film on, excellent stuff. The running back from SMU, Rashad Smith, scat back. He was a slot receiver at Miami, turned running back in Rhett Lashley's system at SMU, shows the ability to be a matchup nightmare. Trevor Etienne also had a very good week. And your boy Mike Green, awesome week in terms of flashing as an edge rusher, setting the edge, and just being a worker. Now, let's get to some of the losers. And here's why most guys are losers if you go to all-star games. Understand that one of your biggest hiccups or negatives or weaknesses is your effort level. Don't show up to all-star games. Keep your tail somewhere else because it's going to show up. And big boy from Kentucky, Deion Walker, that's his biggest problem. You cut on the film and you watch him against Georgia. You watch him against let's say you cut on Louisville film. You might see two totally different players.
Yeah.
Right. You cut it on against it's just every week it was he's 6'8", 340 pounds, dominant athletic guy. Then you see like he's getting moved around. You cut on against Ole Miss, like what is this? But then you have weeks of like this is the best defensive lineman in college football. So when you have that, and it's that halo around your head that says inconsistent, and you show up during the week and you get blocked by 5'10", 270-pound center. Like I'm looking at, do you even love football? And that's a scary thing. Big people that are lazy, scary. Because once they get lazier, what are you going to do with them? Nothing other than try to pep them up. And then you got my man Chris. Go ahead.
Technique you can teach. They feel like they can teach that. A motor's a little bit different of a deal.
These like in a big person. Just remember that now. Yeah. Big people are naturally lazy. It's the reason why they're big. No, naturally you're lazy. So you have to get a fire lit under you daily. So the big ones that don't need that fire lit under them, that's when you see difference maker. That's why Aaron Donald was a problem to the universe because he was a self-starter. This guy, you got to start him up, warm him up, continue, slap him on his back, slap him on his neck, tell him he's great, and he's still going to give you blah effort. So for a guy like that, no bueno.
Now, I thought Peebles looked like what they wanted Walker to look like or thought he was. I thought the Peebles kid from Virginia Tech kind of looked like that kid's a menace.
But again, he's an effort player because He's never been the biggest, never been the strongest, never been the best. So everything I do, I have to prove. Daniel Walker thinks that he's already there. And if I represented him, I would say, hey, listen, champ, yeah, we're not doing any all-star games. All we're going to do is work out. We're going to set the world on fire. They're going to see how big, how pretty that you are, how well you move, but we're never going to give anyone an opportunity to show them that you are lazy as hell. And that's what it is. And then you got your man Princely.
Man, he slipping all over the place, man. Looks like, man, he passes the look test, but just didn't do anything. It wasn't a presence on the rush, which they expect him to be. He slipped all over the place.
Right.
Bad footwork.
And again, that might just be a guy that's a game day player. Right? If you're not a practice player, all-star games aren't for you. You have to know who you are. The practice players doing all-star game, those are the ones you say, oh, man, I love him. Every coach come back and like, oh, this guy's great. You cut on the game film, and you're like, yeah, but where is he? Like, but Princely, my man, Princely. But I think the defensive, the coach from the Giants called him that. He's like, hey, we got Princely versus I forget, they were doing like one-on-one drill.
He didn't even want to try to say you mommy alien, did he? He was like, no, I ain't even trying that one.
Is it Princely or mommy alien?
Mommy alien.
Yeah, so it's really he said Princely, but
I mean, the kid had 10 sacks this year. He was hurt 2 or 3 games. I mean, he showed it in games, but he didn't look good this week. And it could have just got like you said, got a bargain for someone midway through the second round.
Yeah, Deuce, listen, Deuce, I do know what I'm talking about a little bit, man. But here goes my second group of guys that should never show up to an all-star game. Quarterbacks that aren't pocket precision passers should never show up to these all-star games. And this is why. Because your best skill set is playing off script. Now, when you go into a structured environment, 7-on-7, half-line drill, team period where it's just pass, and it's scripted where you have to go through, read 1, 2, 3, check down. Well, in your world, your check down is your legs if you're a mobile quarterback. And I'm not making no name for anybody. Just a simple advice. I said this before. I would not let a mobile quarterback go to an all-star game because you're not going to look the way that you want the world to perceive you.
You said that 3 weeks before the Senior Bowl.
Your best attributes are your legs. Now, during a team settings, you're not going to see my legs. You're not going to see my ability to run over someone if I'm a power runner, right? You're not going to see me escape out in the pocket, buy time, and throw a 50-yard dart. You're going to see me sitting there trying to be a precision passer with timing, accuracy, right, and anticipation, which that's not your strength. So we're all going to walk away and like, oh, yeah, he had an awful week. Yeah, in practice. But when you cut the film on during the game, he's a playmaking joker that you might need in your system. Like if you did 7-on-7, I'm pretty sure Shedeur Sanders would look better than Cam Ward. Right? But, oh, yeah, because timing, that's what he is.
Your athleticism, yeah.
But you cut the tape on and you say, okay, good. We're going to let these 2 guys loose. Yeah, you got to buy some time and you got to make a couple plays and you got to fit it in this tight window. This like Cam, that's Cam's world. Now we're playing off script. This is where I belong. So,
do you think so? That almost tells me that, and the pro guys are smarter than the average moron watching a game, that probably didn't hurt Milroe as much as most people think then.
I don't know. Like a couple of years ago, when we were looking at like when Josh came out with Baker, their week didn't start off like stellar. It was, and they worked their way into it. You know what I mean? So again, for quarterbacks, that's a tough environment to fit in if you aren't an anticipatory thrower of the football with great accuracy, timing. Like, you're not going to look great. You're just going to look okay. But then when the game starts and now you put in some RPOs, some quarterback runs, now that's when you see him start busting for 50 yards. a blitz gets loose and you see him make a guy miss and throw a 20-yard pass. That's his world.
I think that was a great reference, though, Smoke. If I remember correctly, Josh Allen didn't have a good Senior Bowl week when he was down there, and I mean,
it's okay.
He turned out, turned out all right. Well, and now before I do want to get to one more Alabama player, but while we're on quarterbacks, not to get off, a lot of smoke, so to speak, about Jackson Dart this week. Do you think he improved his stock, or is he the beneficiary? Well, we'll get into the quarterback class in a second, but do you think we'll just stick to the Senior Bowl? Do you think he improved his stock this week with the Senior Bowl?
Absolutely. But when you go to the game, and then even on the flea flicker, that was a miss. That should have been a touchdown.
Yeah,
he throws it out. Okay, that's a touchdown. So to me,
the beach kid.
Yes. Now, to the average eye, oh my God, what a throw! But no, okay. You don't get many layups. You don't get many layups in the NFL. So when you have a pass that should go for a touchdown, you put it in the end zone, because we just saw Kansas City stop the Buffalo Bills on 4th down several times, right? So if you have an opportunity to score and it's a layup, you put the ball out in front, you drop it in the bucket, let the receiver run under it and score. So to me, that's a negative throw, because that's a big boy throw that should have been completed. I think we got a couple of questions, man. We got one. We do. Go ahead and shoot to him. I'll get to him. We can shoot to him.
We got some good ones. All right. Smoke Grubb. Okay. We've got two. Well, we'll get to, do we want to go ahead and do Grubb or save? We'll save Grubb for the end. Is any more, or Smoke, what do you think, Rex Ryan? Is that good?
Yeah, go ahead. Either one. It don't matter.
What do you think of Jarquez Hunter, Smoke?
Jarquez Hunter.
Auburn running back.
Auburn running back as a NFL guy. Yeah, so Jarquez Hunter is a guy that is, here's the thing with it. This is probably one of the deepest running back classes, and he's just one of the guys that just fit in. So at the end of the day, he's going to have to do something that separates himself. And that's typically at the combine or in one of these interviews, or if he shows this particular skill set that he can return kicks. But to me, he just fits right in with a lump of really, really good guys. And there's no big separator in terms of factor with him.
He's good. I'm interested in Jarquez because he played on a lot of bad Auburn teams when they had no passing threat at all. And even last year, a lot of their offense, like when it was rolling because of Jarquez. He did have the tendency to fumble at times. I have a little bit of more interest in Jarquez. One of my best friends coached him in high school, actually, in Mississippi. I was getting some video.
This is a bias setup.
No, I didn't ask the question. I didn't ask the question. I've just followed Jarquez, so I know a little bit more about him. But like I said, I know part of the problem on Jarquez is you can't fumble in the NFL, and that was one of his issues at all.
So let me ask you a question. What separates him from Judkins?
Judkins don't fumble. No, and Judkins is a lot. Judkins is a stronger runner. Probably Judkins got a little more power.
A little bit more. Okay, so what separates him between him and Ollie Gordon III?
I think I like Hunter, but I think he's behind all those guys. I think he's a lighter. He's probably a lighter Ollie Gordon. I think the knock on Hunter, I'm gonna keep going back to it, is he
puts the ball on the turf.
Puts the ball on the turf, and that's
right. What separates him from Trevor Etienne?
He's got a little more breakaway speed than Etienne.
So at the end of the day, like there's a group of like 15 guys that just are lumped in. So at the end of the day, pick one in the 4th, 5th, or even the 6th round, and you'll be perfectly fine. If we're just talking about little semantics that separates them, you find your best one and keep on going.
Antonio AC said average.
The only reason why, listen, he's a diehard Bama guy. He don't give credit to anybody.
He is nothing but the Tide, AC. Man, we got several questions. Do you want to save the Grubb question to the end, or you want to go ahead and we're getting peppered about Grubb. Before we get to that, Smoke, I want one more question on the quarterbacks. No, we're gonna get that. I'm gonna shut up. That comes later. Never mind. Do you want to get to Grubb at the end of the show or now?
Let's get to it. And see, now you got AC going nuts about ball security and all that. Listen, It's not like this. Listen, Hunter, he didn't have a fatal flaw of fumbling. So here's the thing that I always go into whenever I'm getting a eval read to me. I always say, is this a fatal flaw? And I get it, dudes, ball security is job security, 1,000%. But all running backs fumble the ball. At some point, they put it on turf. Now, is he fumbling because lacks awareness that he's going to get hit? Is it the way he's carrying the ball? Or what was the situation that he put the ball on the turf? I don't like running backs that do, but if he fumbled 20 times and only had 120 carries, now that's an issue. If he had 1,000-something carries and he fumbled the ball 5 times, it all depends on what was a critical moment that you remember for that to happen. Because he might touch the ball and it might just fumble once every 280 times. It's like, okay.
You just remember the one critical time he did it.
There you go. But I don't think that was a fatal flaw for him. Fatal flaw means you can't get over it.
Yeah.
It's just an issue that he has to fix. Tiki Barber fixed his by going high and tight and just having the awareness of putting both hands over the ball through traffic. Those are the things
I think you hit on a good point, though. I think this running back class is deeper than people are giving it credit for because the draft class overall is kind of shallow. But I actually think this class is a little deeper. But I do think there's a group of guys that are pretty much the same dude. I think maybe Judkins, maybe Sampson, the kid Genty, separate themselves a little bit.
Genty from Boise, and again, like you can go so crazy over that and take him in the top 15 picks, and when you look at it, you might get a running back in the 3rd round that provides you the same value as he did. Right?
I think you could get the same out of Dylan Sampson or Judkins or even Henderson, both the running backs from Ohio State.
And I'm going to tell you like this. The NFL is not a one running back league. And I know everybody's like, what about Saquon? Okay, listen. Sure. But Saquon's been banged up too. Like people are forgetting that he's had ACL, ankles, like he's been beat up. One of the reasons is it's because you're overusing him. So my mindset is always going with a 4 running back look. I want the guy that I know is my bona fide number 1. Then I got to get a power guy that can come in there, right? Then I got to get a 3rd down scat back that is good in pass protection, but if I need to give him the ball, he can bang it up in there and get 5. Then I have to give you my mismatch guy, which is more like my receiver and special teams value. And that's where Brashad Smith comes in, where if I motion him out and you have a linebacker on him, I can say fish, 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 check him, and have you isolated and go to work on him. So to me, you can get value out of these running backs, and you don't necessarily have to get one and say, this is the one. He is my bell cow. Sure. I wouldn't waste a 1st round pick on the running back. That's just my opinion.
I don't think I would. I mean, there's just, and again, not unless there's unless there's a Derrick Henry sitting there that you know is going to give you a decade of freak show. And there's that.
We didn't know that. And we didn't know that.
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, shoot, I'll be honest. I was talking to a guy about this today. Most of us thought, man, Henry was carrying the ball 50 times a game in high school. He got to Alabama. He was carrying it 40 times a game. How many years does he really have in the NFL against a bunch of, well, he's a different breed. That's what we've learned.
So you got to remember, Shaka Zulu didn't get reps like that young.
Mm-hmm.
He took that first year. We didn't really see him until bowl games.
Yeah.
He shot out the cannon against Oklahoma. And people forget he was Derrick Henry, number 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't get the single digit until he showed up, and now he's considered 1 or 2. But there was a stable.
He did get to work his way in.
Yeah, so he didn't get beat up and worn down and tread on the tires, ran out before he could actually get into the game. And you're seeing a guy that's taking care of his body, nutrition, and he does everything the right way that gets him going. Train wreck, you a fool. Look at Smoke not having any hot takes tonight. Listen, everyone thinks it's hot takes. Train wreck.
Truth.
It's not a hot take. This is who I am. This is my truth. You might think it's a hot take, but all it is to me is a normal conversation. Like if I think the guy's not good, I'm just flat out say, yeah, I don't think he's as good as whatever. and I have conviction in my thoughts. It's not like I kind of think that. Nah, say it, believe it, move on. But I respect that.
Speaking of convictions in thoughts, I'm going to get one last thought on a Bama player before we move on to one last question regarding these bowl games, and that's Tim Smith. I thought he kind of popped a little bit this week. Do you think he did? Do you think he was a riser, faller? Just it showed that he, like you said, a lot of these guys just showed to confirm.
Right. So Tim Smith is going to fall into the classic Alabama defensive lineman that doesn't have a big name, right? Like your Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. You see your big boy behind me, 99, yeah. Marcel. And even when Marcel was coming out, like unless you studied him and saw him, you didn't know that he was really, really that damn dominant and that good. Once in a generational type talent sitting behind me over my left shoulder. But Tim, he's just a guy that does all the dirty and unnecessary work, and you just don't notice him, which is fine in the defensive line work because that's what you want. Strong at the point of attack. He has a little bit more pass rush ability than we actually give him credit for because only in his last year was he allowed to really get on edges and work them. So this is something else that most scouts are going to go back into and really have to do their homework and see like when – quick story. When our boy Jerry Reed was coming out, John Blake, God bless my man John Blake, went down there and had dinner and worked him out. And we didn't know if he could truly pass rush because what Saban had those guys doing within their scheme and their system, they were taking guys on and knocking them back. Well, come to think of it, Jerry Reed can daggone pass rush because when he got down to the Senior Bowl, you look back and was like, yo, he's crushing it back there. And he has wiggle, and he is slippery, and he can get skinny. He can go speed to power. So that's where I think Tim is going to help himself out because everything else that you want from defensive lineman, he got it. And he just showed the world a little bit more that he got a little bit more juice and energy, and that get off is pretty good too.
I agree. I think. And I don't know, man. A lot of people have kind of been sleeping on the Bama defensive line, saying that it's not what it was. But again, I agree with you.
It's not. It's not what it was.
It's not. But that don't mean there aren't dudes coming off of it. And I think Tim Smith is a dude. I think he is one of them. No, the numbers back up. The sack numbers, the rushes, the hurries, everything backs up that it. But again, I think he kind of got lost in that this year. I think Tim was a hell of a player on that defensive line and what kind of was why the defense was as stout as it was towards the end of the year. Mm-hmm. But, Smoke, that begs the question, man. You talked about it. Riley Leonard's playing his 17th game almost in a row. Trey Amos from Ole Miss goes down with an ankle injury during the practice of this one. He's already looking like a first-rounder. Are these all-star games necessary anymore? Like, are there not better ways? It's almost like but a lot of these kids, like a lot of them, Walter Nolan showed up to practice, did interviews, and took a hike. A lot of players did that. It seems like they could almost get more out of like a mini camp with skills. I don't know, man. Are all-star games necessary? I know you have a pretty strong opinion on this.
I think all-star games are necessary for players that need it. And when I say the ones that need it, I'm talking about rounds 4 through 7. I think you should show up. FCS level players, Division 2, Division 3 level players, show up, show out, and show the NFL and other guys that you are as talented and can play at this level. For case in point, if you're at the FCS, Division 1 AA, and you've played against lower level guys that you've dominated, and there's a particular scout that says, you read on your draft report or your eval, I would like to see him play against a higher level of competition. Well, if that's the case, show up to Mobile or show up to Dallas like they did for the East-West Shrine game with my man Eric Galco. Show up and show out. But if I am rounds 1 through 3 and I know I'm going to test out of the waters, you're not seeing me. Not an interview, no nothing. I am training, and that's what I'm doing. And that's just my opinion because, again, if you go down to to these all-star games and a scout says, you know what, I had him in the 3rd round, now he's in the 1st. Let me say, then what the heck have you been doing for the last 2 years? 1 week is going to tell you he needs to be bumped up 64 picks just to get into the 1st round. You should have seen that. So it all depends. on who you are. Afford who can afford to be. So if you're 1 through 3 and you don't believe that and you're going to tear this combine up and you're a workout warrior, you're not seeing me. But if I'm 4 through 7 and I'm a practice guy, I'm a precision quarterback, and I need to go in there to show how intelligent that I am and how great of a practice player that I am, I'm going to show up and show out. So I've spoke outside of both that side of my mouth, but that's just my true thoughts on it.
Well, no, I mean, two things can be true at the same time, Smoke. Man,
Right.
I do think there are benefits for the kids. Again, we talked about Aladejo at the very beginning. I didn't know anything about that kid from UCLA, and he shows up. And I know they played an SEC team to start off the year, but he shows up and it's just balling. So I do think there are the green kid from Marshall. And more so, yeah, that's D-Rob said that Mike Green kid from Marshall boosts his stock for sure. And then the kids that play for our boy AC Carter at Alabama A&M, you know, that this is a chance for them to go show that they can compete against guys from the SEC. So, yeah, no doubt that they're necessary for that in that regard. What it points to, though, is these players now in this world with all the money that's going around, you need better advisors. You need people in your life that are giving you – Smoke, you sat here 2 weeks before the Senior Bowl and screamed, Jalen, don't go to this. You don't need it. Like you'll
I
get
told
it.
him I had a guy to work. I told him I had a quarterback guy too. Still nothing.
You did.
Coach G.V. Dixon on X. All you got to do is just follow. I'll follow you back.
Jalen, we love you, buddy. We want the best for you. Listen to Smoke. He's been there, done that. We're not. I am full of Smoke. He's full of that.
I want nothing out of it. I'm not even gonna say who my guy is.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go. You from Houston? We can get this done in Houston. I know you're going to Jordan Palmer as your quarterback coach. Well, this is the guy that taught Jordan Palmer how to do everything right. That got Jordan Palmer ready. So, like I said, man, sometimes we can all want to listen to ourselves a little bit too much. And again, why would somebody trust me? I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, especially when we're talking about my man Trainwreck. Hate Smoke. Why would you hate me? And all I do is just love.
But again, it does work for people like Jackson Dart who get the questions. Hey, they're in Lane Kiffin's offense. Can this quarterback thrive in a pro system, not a system that's set up for, I mean, it's pretty much dummy proof for quarterbacks where it's,
yeah,
you know.
And again, like, I don't think people look at it and say, okay, you have a week to make sure that, like, how many times has Jackson Dart been on the center and taking snap for center?
Yeah, probably now, this week.
Right. So now you got to get your footsteps, and your footwork down, and make sure that timing going out there. How many times has little hand Jalen Milroe really had to play action instead of we saw the ball slipping a lot in his career, and Rowe was like, oh yeah, it's because it's wet, or it's because his hands are really small. Like they're 8 and 5. What is it, 8 and 5, 5'8" or something like that? Yeah, those are surgeon hands. yeah, those are surgeon hands. This is the only time that your hands need to be that small. My hands are bigger than his. Mine are 9 1/4, and these aren't considered big hands. These are just average size hands. So when you talk about the quarterback having to manipulate the football, it's tough. And I'm like, let me grab one of my NFL footballs real quick. Not far.
What they say about small hands.
So when you talk about small hands, like this is the size of NFL football. There's a reason why Tom Brady wanted to take some of the air out of it, just so he can manipulate it, right? So if my hands are 9 1/4, and all I'm doing is wrapping my hands around the ball is so, right? Those other guys that got 10-inch hands, when the ball gets real wet and slippery, you have to be able to put grip it. And when you grip it, that's the way that you can rip it. But when your hands are real small, like this is all you have on it. So you can't really manipulate the ball like you want to. So when it's wet outside and it's cold, and if he gets drafted by NFC North team and he has to play outside and the ball is hard as a rock and he's in Buffalo and there's no bueno. So those are some of the things that you have to really take in consideration. I know some people hand size doesn't really matter. Bull crap.
Ask the Pickett kid his career in the Steelers didn't make it very long because he couldn't hold the damn ball.
Because he had to wear the glove and with the tack and all that other stuff. But yeah, you want hand size at minimum to be 10-inch hands. Like Patrick doesn't have really, really big hands, but his hands are really strong. So when he grips it, he can like let it go. So I've never seen a quarterback with 8-inch hands like manipulate it really well in inclement weather. So that's something that he's going to have to negotiate it and navigate through his career. And again, if my client's hands are that small, then you ain't finding out until combine.
So that's why go, which that's a good segue since we're already talking about Milroe hand size. The game's necessary for some, not for all. That's your answer. Two things can be true at the same time. But one thing that's inevitably true, because everybody's talked it to death, or maybe it's not, maybe we'll all be found dumb in our analyst years down the road, is that this quarterback class is not one of the strongest in recent memory or maybe ever. But look, it's no doubt Cam Ward and Shedeur are going to go in the first round. They're going to be the first two off the board.
Top 5 picks.
But that's the question. You're going to have two quarterbacks top 5. Are we going to go all the way to the second round before we see another quarterback go off the board? Is that going to cause any kind of panic in some of these other NFL teams that inevitably need a quarterback? And are they going to reach? Will Jalen Milroe, will Jackson Dart, or Riley Leonard, or even the kid from Louisville benefit? Is it just a historically weak class and the NFL is just going to punt on quarterbacks in the first round? Or do we see Dart or Milroe, one of these teams like the Dolphins? You're hearing some buzz about the Dolphins and Milroe. You're hearing some buzz about the Cleveland Browns and the Giants, like in Jackson Dart. Do one of these teams reach?
20-second timeout. Like the number one thing that NFL personnel, general managers, coaches, the thing that they protect is information. So what they're doing, they're setting you guys up. Okay, I've been a part of staff that we wanted people to think that we're going in the one direction. We'll go work a guy out, take the private jet to go work a particular quarterback out. I'm talking about send the whole brass, owner, president, general manager, DPP, assistant GM, quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, everybody's on this trip. No shot we want to draft them. But the team that was in front or behind that needed to go up to get a quarterback, now they'll be calling your phone for a pick or taking that quarterback earlier than – so it's basically you're setting people up. Because there's no way that Dayball or Joe Shane wants Jackson Dart. I know both of those guys. And telling the world like, yeah, we really want Jackson Dart. Really? If you really want them, that's the last person that you'd be telling the world that you want. But they want you not to look at who they really want. So maybe it's Shedeur or Cam, and they have to manipulate the draft room and the draft order in order to get those guys. So there's some jockeying that's going on. But any information that's being leaked out by staffs or some scouts that really want to get their names out there, because scouts, all they do is just run their mouths anyway. But yeah, that could be a setup.
Nice. So there is a lot of, and that makes sense. There's a lot of cat and mouse, what you're saying in these drafts, trying to throw names out there, get misdirection on players you want.
Like
which makes sense.
There's no way. Like here's one more. There's no way that Josh Allen, when that incident came out about him during the draft, and you're going to hear a couple of stuff that come out about some of these players that's going to make their stock go like this really quickly. But
I think Laramie Tunsil's the poster boy for that one.
Josh Allen falling in somebody's lap. And just be wary of who's putting that information out there on set date. It might be, like you said, an angry stepfather. Or it could be that puppet master, like manipulating the system in order to fall right into my lap. You know, it's an angry guy that can't learn, yada, yada, yada. Oh, yeah, we'll take him because you really know about him. Jerry Jones and Jalen Smith. He's the only one that had the information. Everyone failed Jalen. Jalen was a linebacker in Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Had reconstructed knee surgery because he got pushed in a meaningless January 1st game by Taylor Decker, tore his knee up. But the Dallas Cowboys are the only one that had the information on how quickly his knee was going to come back and the drop foot and all that. So Jerry, just sat back and watched. Second round came around. The Dallas Cowboys take Jalen Smith, linebacker from Notre Dame. We're like, what does he know? Who did his surgery? Oh, the team doctor for the Cowboys. Then he had a solid career.
Well, that makes sense, man. Because you see all these mock drafts come out, and then draft day happens, and inevitably it something in the first 10 picks goes completely off kilter and turns the whole thing into a complete. And then we all wonder why Mel Kiper has his job.
Mel Kiper actually gets a lot of stuff right.
He does more than people give him crap, but we like to make fun of somebody, right?
We all like to do something that makes no sense.
Randy Moss is another great example. Randy Moss and Laramie Tunsil's gas mask on draft night, leading to the New York Giants taking Eli Apple over Laramie Tunsil, who's now been in the Pro Bowl like 10 straight years. Brilliant.
Warren Sapp had it. Warren Sapp had an incident that made him fall down to number 12. Warren Sapp was one of the guys. Yeah.
That's right. Now, was it an incident with Moss, or was it just the whole because he ended up at Marshall and it was character all over? It wasn't, because once he got to Marshall, I don't think Randy got in any more trouble.
Yeah, listen, Freak he's a receiver. Deal with it.
I'm glad you said that. I don't know if people understand what you meant by when you said he's a receiver. If you don't know, NFL receivers are lunatic freak show divas of the highest order.
Deal with it.
If you've seen Julian Edelman talk about playing with Randy,
with Freak,
he called him Edel butt. Love it.
No, man, they went to Michael Vick hand size. Hey, listen.
Hand size, man, they loved your hand segment. That is a huge thing, man. That's a big deal in these days.
Michael Vick hand size was 8.5.
Doesn't just matter to women.
Never ever seen anything like that. So yes, hand size, huge deal with quarterback.
But he still had I guess it did affect him in cold or whatever, but Vic.
And again, Vic, like when your hands are small, but you never saw Vic put the ball on the ground. Just remember when it was so it's hand size, but also hand strength. So if you have small hands that are really tight, some guys can't stretch your hands out like that. Like if you look at my thumb actually that goes down, right? So that even though my hands are 9 1/4, I can still manipulate the ball because I can grab it in different angles, and like my webbing of my fingers are like really wide. But there's some guys when you look at them try to stretch your hands out, it's like really tight. So yeah, they do have small hands and it's really tight in order to manipulate the ball, and then their hands are not strong enough to really grip the ball when they do get their fingertips in it. So it's a combination of.
It's funny you say that. I had a buddy that played for Mississippi State, and he's now in Dallas and does a lot of stuff with Cowboys, and ran into Troy. And he said he shook hands with Troy Aikman. And this guy played safety at Mississippi State. Big old boy, man. He's no small human. He's an SEC athlete. And he said he shook hands with Troy Aikman and felt like he was a tiny kid. Like just
Troy got some huge hands.
Yeah.
Big, fat, meaty hands that just strong as hell. Yeah. But again, it has a lot to do with the way that you throw the football and how you manipulate it.
So, all right, Smoke. We'll put a bow on this quarterback class and for good. So, do we see Dart, Milroe? You're a GM, or are any of them sneaking in the end of that first round or somewhere or other?
You know what? We can table this one until we get closer to the draft.
Yeah, we'll get okay. We do a draft. We'll do a draft.
So instead of giving, we'll just tease them. Instead of giving our answers, like let's say, hey, you know what? Smoke has to study these guys and get back to you with the information that he's collecting.
They're bringing up. We talked about this on the side. Our boy FF Rom brought up From. I'm not FF From. That gives like 3 Fs. From talks about the Wonderlic test.
Oh, the Wonderlic.
Ephraim's from my neck of the woods. He's a Hillcrest boy. The
Oh,
Wonderlic test. How much does that matter? We make a big deal about it from time to time.
it matters a ton at positions that matter. Right. I remember listening to Coach Jim Sorts would say, if a cornerback can count to 3, I can care less about their Wonderlic test. And just think about it. All I have to do is count receiver 1, 2, 3. If I have to go over that, I don't really have to do much thinking. But when you start talking about the safety position, linebacker position, quarterback position, center position, the garbage cans on wheels, like high intelligence they have to have. and again, like the Wonderlic test also showed, and we can get into this a little bit more, about who has learning like this, who's learning disabled. Because if you test it in the teens, like some consider like the learning disabled like range. And I can go back to all my paperwork and get that for you next week. But you always wanted your quarterback to test 30s and above. Like if it was high 20s, like 29 to 30s and above, because the test was out of 50.
Yeah.
And if they were in the 20s, you'd be like, whoa. Because, I mean, when you talk about quarterbacks, you double times how thick this book is. And that's what you're getting in like your third down package. And you have to be able to retain all that information. And when it happens, within seconds, like solve the mystery. Make gray get black and white quickly. And the Wonderlic, the highest Wonderlic test that I can recall is
was it Andrew Luck?
Fitzy had a really good
okay.
Patrick.
Okay.
Again, he was too damn smart for his own good. And then Carson Wentz. I remember Coach and Pep Hamilton coached both Andrew Luck.
I thought Luck had a pretty
Andrew Luck, but Carson Wentz's test scores was higher than Andrew's, from my memory. And I remember Pep saying they went out and, when they do quarterback studies, they'll go out and they'll give them a playbook about this thick and installs. And they say, hey, listen, take that. They'll go through it. They'll teach them all the installs and say, hey, listen, take it home, study it, come back tomorrow, and we'll go over it. Yeah, Pep said Carson went home. He said he's never seen this before. Never happened to him before. All the quarterbacks that he's ever worked with or worked out. Carson took that, went home, came back the next day, flawless through it, but also was able to make every single check.
And that's why
he's too damn smart for his own good.
Yeah.
So like he'll outthink like himself, but he was really, really bright. I remember sitting down and interviewing him, and he walked away and was like, he can't be real. Like, what did you do? He's like, dude, I just hung out with my fiance, go to church, and I hunt. And guys like, oh yeah, you got to drink. No, I don't. And he was a matter of fact about it. And you walked away and like, yeah, he's different from everybody else. That's a quarterback. But his cognitive sense was like just remarkable. But then you have a receiver that can get a running back and get a test score like 10.
No matter.
Yeah, he's learning disabled, but I mean, he can find the hole and cut. And like some guys are instinctual players, understanding that I've studied this linebacker so much that when his left foot is up, he's blitzing. When his right foot is back, he's dropping. When he has a square stance, this is what he's doing. When he has a stagger stance, is what it is. The scat protection, when I scat across right here, that's my guy. Look at his feet again. Okay, good. His eyes, good. Like Marcel Darius, I don't know what his test score is, but I remember watching film with him, and he would like, oh yeah, he's pulling, oh yeah, he's leaning back, and you're like, how do you know that? He's like, you can see it, and his eyes and his ability to know and his instincts, remarkable. Like he'll know.
That's why they don't ever talk about defensive players too much, but I'd love to see like what Ray Lewis would have said. I guarantee Ray Lewis scored high on that shit.
Again, I don't know. And it's standardized testing, so he might not have tested high.
Might not have done well.
I remember talking to Eddie Kane. Ed Reed. I call him Ed Reed. We sit in my office. We used to talk all the time. And I was like, bro, what was your Wonderlic say? He's like, man, I didn't give a damn about no Wonderlic. I went in there and just abracadabra that thing, man. Nobody cares about that. But you talk to Ed will break down Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, give him a couple of days. He'll have Patrick Mahomes and like know every single tendency on first, Second, formation, check. When he's on throw in the middle of the field, how to make him look at him in the middle of the field. Baseball turn, get like Ed is a savant.
Oh, Ed was on with the Mannings, and you feel like he's probably doesn't give a shit. He's just kind of halfway lackadaisical answering questions, talking about the game. But then Peyton would bring up something like an event from a breakdown from a play, and then Ed hops up and gives you this dadgum an essay of, and you're like, holy hell, man, what? Okay, okay.
Ed is super, super sharp. Like his information, like you be like, yeah, okay. Pepper Johnson gave me some info the other day. Pepper Johnson is the best defensive line coach that I've ever been around. Period. So Pepper and Ed, we're sitting in the room, we're going over some stuff, and he's like, most of these coaches, because we played against New England. He's like, I said, Pep, did any one of these coaches ask you anything about like New England tennis? He's like, no, I didn't. They just think Pepper's just a dumb idiot. But Pep is really, really bright. Like, there's a reason why Belichick kept him around. There's a reason why he played Mike linebacker in one of the most like sophisticated defenses, and he can still give it to you, over and over. He's like, do you understand that at one period in the season, if Gronkowski had man-to-man coverage on him, Brady would never throw it to him. Said early on the season, man-to-man coverage, Brady would never throw Gronk in football. I was like, why? He's like, we just didn't want to get him hurt. So on third down, if it was man-to-man, Brady ain't looking that way. Now, you would think that if somebody has that information, you're game planning him and it's week 3, you'd go man-to-man against Gronk because he ain't getting the ball, because you don't want to get him. If Gronk had injury bumps and stuff, like he was just a big guy that couldn't get out of the way. And when you're a safety coming downhill and it's man-to-man coverage, you're going to light him up. But as the season got on and got closer to the playoffs, now when he saw man-to-man, his get-out-of-jail-free card was Gronk, because they got Gronk to the finish line. But there's information like that that's out there that if you use it, it can help you in games. Like Brady not looking, and they'll tell him, don't throw it to him. Look off and go somewhere else.
That's good stuff. Gronk, by the way, could not spell Wonderlic.
Don't matter. Just throw the ball up.
He did not. Throw ball, catch ball. Throw ball, catch ball.
Like all that, like some of the stuff, like it's football.
No. Yeah, we'll dive in. We're going to dive because look, man, the scores, we're going to dive into that. We got to talk a little bit of Super Bowl. We'll dive into the draft and Wonderlic, because there is an element of BS, because I'm pretty sure Ben Roethlisberger scored in single digits and he had a pretty decent
career.
No,
I doubt it. No, Ben's sharp, man.
I don't think Ben had the high score. We'll have to get someone to pull it up. I'm pretty sure Ben him and Ben were cheating off each other, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, stop. Like Peyton and those guys like 38s.
Well, yeah, and I think didn't Mahomes have like a stupid high? He was in the 30s, right?
He didn't have any learning issues. They were average.
But I thought Mahomes had a stupid high score. I thought he blew it out of the water too, like Manning's did, like Peyton did.
I was pegged to study Mahomes. Like background information on Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I read the whole entire. That was my job, to read the entire file. From A to Z, I can tell you everything about Patrick.
Yeah, he's modern freaking John Elway. He's badass. That's what it is.
More Brett Favre-ish.
Man, I've been watching some old Elway though, and what catches me most about Elway is he played in an offense that was so dumb, and his receivers look like me. And when I say look like me, like 6 foot tall white dudes, man. Come on. Man, no damn way. If you give Elway in like an offense with real athletes catching the ball, not me. Like he had Steve Largent's like special brother was his first receiver, and I'm like, who the hell is that guy?
Are you sure this is you said Ben was a 24 Wonderlic? Yeah,
I don't, man. Wait, hold on. Did someone say? I think it was.
Yeah, Trainwreck might have been. He's an Auburn guy, man. So I ain't really.
So Trainwreck, you throwing bad as a Ben get a 24? Ben just like to do crazy stuff in bathrooms. All right, look. Before we get to the Super Bowl, if you're fortunate enough to be going to the Super Bowl, give me my man Smoke a ticket. We'd like to go too.
I don't want to go. You can take my ticket and give it to your wife. I'm good on that.
You don't want to go to the Super Bowl?
No, I just told you that. I'm good. I used to get rid of all my tests. I used to get all my stuff. Yeah, I'm good on that.
Well, if you are, take your title towel. And if you're not, take it to the party you're going to.
Hey!
And shake it around the house. Head to wheelsports.com today. Tell them the promo code standard, get you a little discount. And if you're fortunate enough to go to the Super Bowl, swing it around, show that Alabama pride because you know the Alabama players in that thing. Or take it to that Super Bowl party and show them that title towel love. Wheelsports.com, another one of the great sponsors that keep the lights on here. Like I said, Smoke, we're down to the last game of the year, man. The game everybody hoped to get, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles. Everybody is so excited to see Mahomes back in the Super Bowl. And praying that so excited that I think he's turned most of the country into Philadelphia Eagles fans, which is, if you've ever been to Philadelphia as a non-Philadelphia fan, you realize they're the meanest people on the planet. But alas, the country's pulling for him. Yeah, Elway was the damn man. I swear, Elway, God, he was. I watched the 84 AFC Championship this week because I went down that rabbit hole. God bless, Elway was a badass. With that said, Smoke, you said it last week, got people thinking. I've had people comment to me, reach out to me that I think the Smoke guy wasn't just a hot take on one Jones being possibly the best defensive tackle to ever play the game. And then on the other side, man, I think Patrick Mahomes has not only put himself on the Mount Rushmore of NFL quarterbacks, he's putting himself in the argument for the greatest to ever do it. Can they be taken down by this? Man, look, man, don't sleep on this Eagles team. We got one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, two of the best offensive tackles. Saquon Barkley has had Saquon. God bless, Daniel. Get your tongue right. Saquon Barkley, and no disputing the year he's had. He's put up video game numbers. Jalen Hurts has done he hasn't hurt the team. He gets the team rolling.
He has. No one wants to speak the truth. Yeah, he has. The reason why.
Look, man, I love her. I love Jalen. Jalen's a great guy. Karma's working out for him. He's on the right team that's propping him up. He's got two great receivers in Smith and AJ Brown.
And Dallas Goedert. Don't forget Dallas. Don't forget Dallas Goedert, his tight end. He's one of the better tight ends in the NFL. Listen. It comes down to as simple as this, bro. Patrick ain't gonna let Jalen beat him. Patrick don't let guys like that beat him. It's just fact. That's what it is. Give it up. Enough. Fly, Eagles, fly. Fly away. Thank you for showing up. Enough's enough. Vic Fangio against Big Red Andy Reid. Good luck thinking that Spags they don't know how to call big games. Good luck, not Jalen Hurts not seeing something that he's never seen before. Like it sounds good.
The stat that got me is Kansas City's defense hasn't given up a 100-yard rusher this year. They're about to face the man.
Oh, really?
Spags. What's he won a title?
I hope it don't get ugly. I hope it don't get like halftime where I got to turn the TV off and just watch commercials.
So you're saying this is not just watch commercials. Yay. So you're saying there's no chance. This is it. KC just rolls.
No, there is a chance. Super Bowl. This is the best two teams in the NFL.
I do agree with that. I think we got – people are pissed. We got the best two teams. What do you want? You got – I wanted the Bills too, but they weren't the best team. They got beat.
Enough. You can't have DeMar Hamlin and Cole Bishop out there playing safety with Benford and Rasul Douglas. They can't even play man-to-man. Like, come on, knock it off. Enough. Greg Rousseau can't turn it on and be that pass rusher. A.J. Epinesa is a solid player. Milano looks like a shell of himself. And Keon Coleman, like, they said it the nicest way. After he was hurt, we feel like he was – when was he ever on? Not all year. So the best two teams got there.
No, best two teams are in it.
Yeah, knock it off.
Is anybody pulling for the Chiefs here? I think we're nothing but fly, Eagles, fly over there.
I don't think anybody should pull for them. Like, don't. Get your hearts ripped out again. That's what people everyone wants to cheer for the underdog, just so when they come back, and if the Eagles are, I told you so, Smoke, great. In one ear, out the other. But I'm putting my money.
You know what I find the funniest about this, though? It's not like Kansas City. They're a small market team. It's not like they're New England or the Giants or even the Eagles come from a big market. I mean, the Eagles is a big freaking market. Kansas City's kind of, I mean, they're I don't want to call them the little engine that could, but as far as NFL standards, they're not one of the bigger. They're not the Cowboys. They're not one of the big money teams.
They're not one of the most marketable teams, but they got Pat. They have the two best players. Okay, they got the Patrick on offense, Chris Jones on defense. They have the best head coach, and they got the better defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Their special teams coach is better as well too. The rest, the Philadelphia Eagles team is from top to bottom is better than Kansas City's.
Yeah,
but I'm taking Andy Reid over the guy that likes to argue with fans. That's all. And I'm taking Steve Spagnuolo whenever he has a dominant defensive tackle. Any other time, I don't want Spags. I know what he is. Without Chris Jones or dominant defensive tackles, his defense sucks. But with Chris Jones, you do whatever you want. Me and you can call defense for Chris Jones.
Oh, yeah. Again, I don't. I get the hate. I get that there's a huge fatigue with Kansas City, but when you take the step back in the 36,000-foot view, they're the more likable team. Philadelphia, asshole fans. Kansas City, passionate fans that are there. I remember in the 90s, it was the loudest stadium when they weren't all that good. You know, it's a smaller market. They don't have this. And you just said they're not the better team. Philadelphia has a better offensive line. They've got to look. I know he's been the man for years, but their tight ends got a little old. He's now just
Travis looks terrible. He looks fat.
He's a decoy at this point.
His body looks like mush. But guess what?
They've gone to Nick Gray.
For one game, he's gonna come out and he's gonna bake whoever's on him. But he looks awful.
Yeah, he does.
And
they're probably going to win. And they're probably going to win the Super Bowl. So you're going to you get.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Can they four-peat? That's can they four-peat's not a word. They need to coin that. Because I know Pat Riley got the three-peat. They got four-peat.
Where does that put Mahomes? Is that? I mean,
what's your question?
Well, you know what I'm asking. Where does that put him in the pantheon of the greatest quarterbacks to ever strap it up?
Has anyone ever won 4 in a row?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
There you go.
Your question?
Smoke.
Hey, you just sit back and win 4 in a row? Like 4 in a row. And it's not like you have all-star. No, it's just you took your guard and put him in tackle, like just get in the way. Just your right tackle. I mean, he lines up in the backfield with you every single play and gets beat. The running back is a guy that as a rookie, he was great for you. You got rid of him. He bounced around the world, came back and said, all right, come on. The receiver, Xavier can't catch, so they're just handing the ball. Nuke can't get open, so they just throw it to his back shoulder. He might catch it. Hollywood Brown is small and he gets knocked around all the time. So really, it's like Patrick just finds a way just to get down the field. And if the Philadelphia Eagles allow Patrick and that ragtag crew to come in there and bust him up and beat him up, shame on you. Because Howie's put together a really good team. And the shame is going to be on Jalen because head-to-head, I don't care what yards he puts up, how much he rushed for, when it comes down to the last 5 minutes, and that beast is across over there with the title towel on his shoulder like this, you're going to see him. Patrick's going to be like this, and he's going to be showing his mouthpiece, looking to the side, like that. And they're going to say, hey, Pat, it's time. He's going to do this. And that whatever voice, I got you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, what do we need? 7 or 6? Hey, let's go for 6. I got you. Just call the play. You know when he does that? Touchdown. And it goes off again. Confetti. They say, all we're going to do is this 4-peat again because, I mean, we're getting bored. And next year they're going to say, Patrick can't do 4 in a row because Brady didn't do it. He can't do it. He ain't Brady.
And to further the point, when you go back to any of the dynasties, the Joe Montana 49er dynasty or the Aikman Cowboy dynasty or the Brady, you can name a who's who of the guys that were around him. Like you just said, there's no who's who that's around Patrick. There's Jones and Patrick.
They ran the cheetah off. Cheetah, go away.
Yeah, right. I mean,
go.
So you can hate on it all you want, but you can also appreciate it for what it is. It's probably the greatest era that we've ever seen in our life, and we've seen some damn good eras. I mean, that Niners run, that Cowboys run, and then the 20-year run of the freaking Patriots. But what Mahomes is doing?
I sound like a 17-year-old frat boy. Listen, I can't be in a frat. They don't let me in. I'm too much of an individual. Guys like me.
I'm with you now. Elway, I said this to someone. You put Elway in, he's Mahomes of the 80s and 90s. He had nobody around him and just got it done. Elway was that dude.
Whoa.
Now, at the end of his career, now I know where you're gonna go. All right, here's where smoke hurts my feelings in the night.
He got there.
He did get there.
He got there. He didn't get it done. He got there. He didn't get it done. The other guy,
he got it done. No, I get you. I get your point.
One guy got there. One guy got it done. Just saying. Got it done. I know. Listen. I didn't want to tell you that. I didn't say you were wrong. You just got to just move the words around to make sure that it makes sense. Like, he got there and got blown out.
But look, again, he was playing with just straight trash, and that San Francisco team was generationally good. No, I'm about to get into the Elway fandom. So, like, my fan card is going to come out here about Elway because that's my dude. But I get it, man. Stats don't lie. With that said, we do have a few questions, man. We're going to round back to you guys that have hung in here with us, especially the Alabama fans. First of all, hope you enjoy your Super Bowl. Do you go to a party, Smoke? You and AC having another sleepover, doing popcorn, wings, all that good stuff?
Pause for a second here, man. Let me sit up and
well, y'all did a sleepover for the national title.
What are you trying? What are you trying to get at?
Hey, man, I think it's still cool that y'all still. He calls his mom, says, "Hey, mom, we'll go to Smokes. We're gonna go to Domino's and hit up Blockbuster and get a movie." His wife said it was cool.
Really? No. Now we did call Miss Williams because she's supposed to make our carrot cake, and we did have to.
You're just backing up what I'm saying. I love it.
No, that's for real. That's family. And he knows he's supposed to bring it up here. And yes, I didn't have to ask his wife. He knew when he came up here, he was staying with me. And we don't have sleepovers. We've never slept in the same room, even when we were in college.
That's not what it's
like. We all had our individual
room. One dude takes the couch. You got bunk beds. Somebody takes.
No way. He sleeps in the guest quarters, and we've always slept in separate rooms. We're just super close, man. That's my guy.
Oh no,
you know what? We might give you a chance to come into the cool fan club.
I would love to get invited. Look, I can bring some snacks.
See, there you go. You say you want to bring snacks, you're not invited. See, we don't ask you to bring anything. Other than just leave your phone and just don't videotape us. Have a casual conversation.
I'll leave that at the door. Hey man, I
drop it in the bucket. We had a bucket. It was a phone bucket. Drop it in there. Because we didn't want any other information.
That's what kept Derek Jeter out of trouble all those years. With that said, Smoke, we did have a few questions, man. I guess you're paying attention. My phone blew up yesterday, and I was wondering why from people I don't normally get texts from that Ryan Grubbs Bama's finally got their man. Now, I've heard some different opinions. I listened to your boy Siski today, and he had quite the interesting take on this. I'm kind of interested in your take.
What did Siski say about it?
Siski, I want to let you want to hear what Siski said before you give your take?
Yeah, you can. It's not going to change my view anyway, but go ahead.
Siski said, Bama fans, I know y'all think he's the savior, and he is a great X's and O guy, but I don't know what to tell you if you think he's going to call anything different than what Sheridan called this year. It's going to be the same playbook. The problem is he didn't have Penix running the quarterback. He didn't have a guy who could throw it or run the playbook. So next year, when he has a guy that can run the playbook and it looks different, everybody's going to say, we told you, Sheridan, we needed Grubb. He was the answer. when in fact he's probably running the exact same plays. You've just got different personnel running it. It's about the guys, not
players over plays, man.
Players over plays. Smoke.
You know what? You know what I should have actually showed you? Next week we'll do a demonstration of an NFL football and a college football. They're different in size. So I get what Siski's saying, and he's 100% accurate. And we also have to remember that magical year that they made that run to the national championship game. Both of those receivers, Roma Dunzier, and I forget the other guy. Was it Falk? The other receiver for Washington was a third-round pick, and Rome was a top 10 pick. Mm-hmm. Your left tackle and your right tackle are both starting in the NFL. So, again, we can call plays for that crew and still get it done. And I just want to see Grubbs come in with the ability to adjust and make sure that the personnel that he has intact down there in Tuscaloosa, that he's using it to their best ability, not trying to fit all those guys into your offense. It's your offense, yes, but you also have to understand who you have at your disposal to use and make sure those guys are being used in a proper way. And everyone has the same playbook. It's just a matter of how you call it and how you teach it in order for those
That's the question I want to ask you, Smoke. What different dynamic does Grubb bring that maybe Sheridan didn't have experience or what within this playbook?
I think that Jalen Paul. Yes, appreciate that, Smooth.
Yeah, smooth.
Here's what it is for me. I think familiarity with each other in terms of head coach and play caller. Like, head coach understands exactly what he wants to get done just because they've worked together. And that was his number one option when he was getting a job at Bama. So he has confidence in them. And when you have confidence in somebody's system and the way that they're going to run it, like, you feel more comfortable with it. But, I mean, I've studied that Washington tape. I mean, it's not like they were doing something crazy. They just had really good football players. Shout out to my man Cooper Battaglia for putting that together as well, too. With Washington before he got up out of there.
With that said, to add on to it, go ahead. You got it, Justin. I'll let you roll them. Kanafi, next week is here. Where do y'all see Milroe going? Roll Tide roll, fly Eagles fly.
Man, that guy is one of the best first place losers in the NFL history because he's gonna get it. That's where I see him going.
Who, Milroe?
Yeah, he's going to lose the Super Bowl. It's first place. He's going to be in the first place loser. There's a winner and a first place loser.
I think you're getting hurt. Are you getting hurt? He's asking about. I think that's
Milroe.
He's asking, where do we see Milroe going?
Oh.
Who do you see Milroe? Do you see a team like? He's just pulling for the Eagles.
I can see him going in the second round, early, to where a team that's has established quarterback can take him, develop him in 2 years, and audition him in the third, because I think he needs time. So
there's a lot of buzz around the Dolphins have an early second round pick. There's buzz around the Dolphins camp that McDaniels feels like he can, we'll see. You go to this place where you might get, huh?
They just paid Tua last year.
Yeah.
Knock it off. Again, I'm telling you,
Petty,
they're setting you up. It's a setup. Oh, we're gonna take us a quarterback in the second round and get rid of Tua. When?
Well, where would be a good spot?
Quarterback. I think if the Jets get a veteran, you can take him. If you want to, if the Buffalo Bills believe in his ability, I would take him. Because you have to have an answer for these quarterbacks when they start wearing down and finishing up. Tampa with Baker. Baker's there, but he's going to have a couple of years. Just NFL teams with established veteran presence in terms of at the quarterback position. You always want to take someone like this if you believe in his skill set and that you have somebody in your building that can develop him as a quarterback. And these aren't just guys that are, he used to coach running backs and tight ends, and, he's been coaching quarterback 2 years. No, a quarterback developer, teacher, someone that knows that can start a quarterback from the ground up. How to talk, how to walk, how to think, how to articulate a play call, how to throw a football, how to be a good backup, how to be a good teammate. Like, places like that with qualified people in your building. I would take them Detroit. I would take them Milrow. Just so, because again, Hooker, it's a done deal for you, buddy. I hate to tell you, the gig's up. They brought Teddy Bridgewater in to be the backup in the playoffs after he was a high school coach for the year. They're telling you everything, but you're not reading it. So good luck.
That's a sign.
Yeah, the gig's up. The gig's up. Knock it off. But yeah, I would look into teams like that. Baltimore Ravens. Ooh. And it's not saying that we want Lamar out of here. No, it's called insurance.
That would be great.
Get to a position, and when you get to a position where you say, you know what, we're not going to pay you $80 million a year because it's time to re-up, but we believe in that young guy the same way that they did with Jordan Love. You put him in, and that's your answer. So you're not getting held up as a hostage by quarterbacks. And you move them on and you trade them. But that's what I would do.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
Tough as nails, Petty. Do you think Ryan Grubb is going to coach more than 1 year? I think he's with DeBoer as long as DeBoer's here right now. So my answer is if DeBoer's here next year, Grubb will be here next year too.
I doubt it. I think Grubb gets an NFL call. He's out. He's showing that to you guys. He wants not listen. Okay.
Yeah, but he just went to the NFL and all right, it didn't work. Now I'm gonna go back with my boy.
20-second timeout. All right, let me help you out because I think you like to give credit to people a lot, but and I just sit back and I let the history tells me exactly what they're going to do in their future. He's had 2 opportunities come to Tuscaloosa, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had one with the greatest college head coach in the history of football, and what did he do? No bueno, not coming to Tuscaloosa. Okay, now. We just went on this magical run. We're going to get the bag dropped off to you. And your buddy said, hey, listen, I'm going on the plane. Courtney's on the plane. The wife and the kids are on the plane. I'm taking all the assistants on the plane. What's going on with you? Let me hear what's going on in Seattle. Like, you never worked with those guys before. And you got Gino. I'm going to just stay up here. Okay, cool. You sold us, but I'm staying in the Pacific Northwest. Like one time. The second time, you just don't want any part of T-Town. So now that you're fired, and he could have gotten on earlier on the staff, like months ago, because he's been fired for a while, what did he do? I can tell you. His phone was ringing. His agent had him busy. He's picking up the phone. He was interviewing at different places and trying to figure out. And then it just all went to crap. And he says, you know what? Old Faithful's still there. I'll come over there and work with you guys. So, no, next year when someone says, hey, you guys just went whatever and and your offense is whatever, and you developed this quarterback into whatever, and we're going to give you, Chip just got $6 million. We're going to give you $5 million. I'm out of here.
Now, if that happens, he's not staying. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to go the opposite way. And based off what you said, you turned it down twice now. The one thing is, why didn't he get another offer in that time that he's been sitting up there waiting? But he finally took the money.
He's that good. He's that good.
If you leave after 1 year, I don't know, man. That's going to start building somewhat of a. I think he stays more than 1 year. I think I think a lot of
what you're saying he does, like you saying he's going to stay, and what he's actually going to do, all depends on who's asking him and offering him a job.
Look, I've been a big proponent on other shows when they were talking about, when the coaching search was going on, and there was a lot of people starting to beat the drum for D'Amico. And I'm like, guys, He's not leaving a head coaching job. I don't care how much mama calls. He's going to call mama back and be like, Mama, I'm good. I got this job in the NFL. I'm all right.
I got
we're going to the
man.
playoffs.
I'm not coming down there to mess around with no daggone.
Yeah, so I'm never going to be one. Look, if that NFL money comes calling, especially in this era of college football, these guys don't want any part of this insanity. They're going to go back to the league and take the money. So I do agree with that, but I don't know, man. I don't know if that's going to happen, but maybe it does. If he takes Keelan Russell and is a freshman and they just blow up the offense, maybe another pro team does come knocking. But how quick is a pro team going to give another guy a chance that just got fired that quick out of Seattle? I mean, I don't know. You're like, we're talking about the NFL retread league. I don't know why I said that. I'm an idiot.
So what you're saying? I told you. I listened up. You're telling me that I should be fired up on a guy that said no twice, shot back out to the shooter once by the NFL. Let's get the hell on. Like, we don't want that. Nothing to do with you. 1 year. But that should be like,
this guy's going to change the offense. He's the savior. Smoke, that's not the question. You're answering the wrong question here, Smoke, but that is
I'm just answering the question and just, yeah. Sorry, I went down a rabbit hole. I apologize.
No, don't be using logic. Don't go down logical rabbit holes of
Can't wait till he gets in there and puts up 40 like Mike Locksley did. When is Bama's
Pro Day?
We're going down there, man. And we'll have a show down there. Yeah. Justin, we got a show down there, right?
Justin, y'all got a live show on Pro Day?
Not Pro Day. A-Day. Why?
A-Day.
A-Day. Bama Pro. Like, why are you worried about Bama Pro Day? Yeah, you don't get let in. They don't let
just want to know what it is when them numbers start flying. Because the Pro Days now, it's the
Justin said Bama Pro Day is the
26th of March.
26th of March. Yeah, I mean, that's when Milrose should have thrown for the first time. Let the world see that he's been working with somebody.
With guys he's already worked with, has time and with. You're going to look your best. Oh, no doubt. That was dumb as hell. You told him. Try to tell him. Tough as nails.
I think the fans want us to do we should go down there for Pro Day. Get the Bama standing down there for Pro Day so they can run me out the building. We should do that, Justin. Go ahead.
we got to get back, and we've got to send some roses and some chocolate to the facility first.
I'm not saying that.
Smoke, what did you think of Rex Ryan as a head coach? God bless.
Rex Ryan. You know what? I like Rob more.
Really?
Oh yeah, Rob's a worker. Rob was detailed, hardworking. Yeah. I'll take two Robs. I'll take two Robs over one Rex. How about that? So that's what I thought about him as the head coach.
Do you think Bama will utilize the running backs more? I know his running backs.
Okay, 20-second timeout again. Like I know that Justin loves Young. Everyone loves Jan Miller. Like, those guys are just dime a dozen players, man. It's just blah. They're okay, but I mean, they got the ball a few times. And everyone's like, they didn't get it enough. Hey, listen, you better be lucky you got it. Because if you were in a real backfield with NFL-type talent littered around you, like the yesteryears of Henry and Kamara and Kenyon Drake, you're only getting the ball 10 times. You better cook. So if you were getting the ball 5 or 6 times and you wasn't putting it up, like, enough. I think those guys are okay. Run the ball, I guess.
Depends on if the quarterback's going to hand it to you, too. So there's a little bit of that.
Hey, man, little small hands. The ball used to slip, bro.
Little small hands was scared to hand it off and fumble it, I guess.
Hey, listen. Now, again, he was the best running back like in the backfield with Alabama. And I was also a guy that my history of playing the quarterback position in high school, I have never once pitched it or handed off for the simple fact that I knew that I was a better player. And when you rather have me with the ball in my hand than that guy? So, logic. Shout out to Jalen Moore.
I'm not gonna. I know you say they're kind of a bunch of they're all the same
That's
name.
that.
I think Young has a chance to be a little better than that though. I think Young's got some potential.
You think Young could be Brian Robinson? B-Rob?
Yeah.
You think that? Okay, well, yeah.
Oh yeah.
A big slug mule. Yeah, got you. Not a stallion.
B-Rob sitting in NFL right now, getting paid.
I'm again like, see, that's like you want to have that conversation with. I'm not saying that B-Rob's bad. All I said was, is he B-Rob? I said yes. Okay, B-Rob's just a slug.
Because he's not going to break one for 80 yards. I get it.
No, he's not somebody that I'm worried about. He's a good running back.
I think that kid. I think they got that kid. We'll see, and you never know from high school. But I think AK Deer could be that kid.
Shout out to him. I got to see it.
Yeah, I think Deer's got it. Knaffy, do y'all think DeBoer truly knew what he was getting into coming to Alabama? We joke about it, don't give a piss about nothing but time, but there's a little truth to that. You're shaking your head, but I've got an answer to this. I want you to give yours. But I look, everybody, like, you want a dude that thinks he can do it anywhere, and the coaches that you don't want a guy that's like, nah, I can't live in Saban's shadow. I don't want to be the next Saban. You want the guy that tells, I can win anywhere because I'm that guy. Did he fully know what Alabama was? I don't think anybody truly knows what Alabama is until you step into Tuscaloosa and see what kind of a hornet's nest you're stepping into. But on the flip side, I think there was kind of a what's there to lose. You've taken Washington the national title. You're looking at somebody offering you $100 million. If it doesn't work, your life's going to be okay. You tell your wife, hey, sweetheart,
we're going to T-Town.
We're going to go to T-Town. And if I succeed, then I get to put myself in the line of the greatest coaches that ever lived, the greatest university that ever was, and they build me a statue. If it don't work, we just go live on an island for the rest of our lives with a shit ton of money. So did he know? I don't think anybody ever truly knows, but I think he looked at that money and said, it don't really matter. I'm going to be all right either way. And I think that's the truth of it. And if it wins, it's a win. I do think he believes in himself, though. I do think he thinks he can win at the highest level here. I don't think there's any doubt that he believes I can win a national title at Alabama. But no, nobody truly knows the insanity of what this is until you get here. And $100 million.
You hit it right on the head. But the only thing I would tell our audience is, if you guys want a really good answer, ask a better question. Like, this is a layup question. This one you can go. This question you should have asked is he over his head? Now you get the answer that you're looking for, because I think that's what you wanted to ask. But come back and ask another one.
Well, I answered the question. You obviously thought it was kind of dead on smoke. $100 million year, not turn that down. Is he in over his head?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why I say that is, and I'm not saying for the future. I'm just saying for the past, last year, because I can't tell you what he's going to do if he hasn't improved. But last year, yeah, he was in over his head for a few things. That team was ran by players. Right? You want it to be driven, but you don't want them to the sole direction, have the navigation of the way that we're going, how we're going to perceive things, how we're going to act. The players had him like by the shirt tail. And you saw that in the Vanderbilt game. You saw that in the game after that when he was on the sideline arguing with, like, coaches don't argue. Coaches tell. Players do. And you move on. That's a discipline and understanding of who's in charge. And I don't care what area you're in, that's the way they go. It's called an authoritative figure. And I didn't see that. You knew I thought that Jalen Milroe was the head coach and the offensive coordinator, and he wasn't being told what to do. And when the player is telling you what to do, when you disagree about it and you feel like you can't do anything about it because you are afraid of the backlash from the community, hey, man, that's a $100 million job. Comes with it. Live with it. Make a decision and go with it. That's what you got to do. And last year I saw that. Hopefully he improves with that and don't give a crap about what everyone's going to say. Like, when I talked to those guys, I said, hey, listen, you have to do it your way. Whatever your way is, do it and stick to it. Because the second that you start wavering and those guys in the locker room see it, like we're like sharks in the water, man, with blood in it. If you deal with guys like me. And the second I see you get moved by something, oh yeah. And I find out that you don't stand 10 toes down on what you're saying, oh yeah, I'm just gonna poke at the bear all the time and just tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you what to do. And now I'm the coach. So last year I thought that was it.
Great answer, Smoke. Man, I think he's got that's a big year, man. We're gonna see.
Year 2 is a big year. Like, you shouldn't be saying that about the coach.
Well, I mean, in Alabama land, the seat gets hot the moment you get on the plane. So, you know,
Bama people need to calm down too. Time, like, knock.
I agree.
Give the guy a chance. Like, you're not going to get much better than that. But
that's the thing, man. I think until you realize that we're in a new era, and that even if Saban was here, this is the product you're going to get is going to be about the same. The 10-2, 9-3. It's
Saban left to tell you. Saban left and said it. Like, I can't do nothing else with these bunch of, like, this is it, and this is the best that I can do, and I'm going to go ahead and gracefully bow out and let somebody else come in. And again, it's not a knock on Coach DeBoer. I'm just saying my honest opinion from what I saw of the team last year. That's just what it is. But I mean, you got the best that could do it in Tuscaloosa there now.
And I think that's the bigger deal, Smoke. It's not DeBoer's over his head. Every coach in this era is pretty much over his head because they're all swimming in waters they've never swim in. And
I disagree.
Deeper than they're used to, man. It's something they can't.
I disagree. I disagree. Wow. I don't think Ryan Day's over his head. I don't think Coach Sweeney's over his head. I don't think Kirby Smart's over his head. I don't think Lane is over his head. I'm just saying, year one, going into one of the winning, like in the last 17 years, the winningest program in college football. Like, going in, you think that you understand what you're getting in. Like, no one understands until you lose a game that you're not supposed to lose. Now, it's when it starts. Like, when you're winning games and you're beating Georgia, oh, Pat's coach, you're the best. Pat. But understanding that Pat, it quickly can turn into a dagger.
They might not be over their head, but they're treading in waters that made them uncomfortable. Dabo's not treading in the same lane that he was when he was playing against Saban every year, and Kirby's not just running the show in the SEC like he had the past 3 or 4 years. Man, they're learning what life is like.
Kirby wasn't running the show for that. Like, Georgia won the SEC championship last year and lost it the year before, right?
But then they win the title, yeah.
So again, it wasn't like they're a total domination and disarray of what's going on. They when you lose a game, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're over your head. Like, Coach Sweeney's won the ACC, 2 of the last 3 years. Been in the playoffs, like, so. Those guys aren't. Someone has to win the national championship, and the Buckeyes did. But when you're talking about over your head, that's total institutional, like, lack of control. Institutional, like, when you lose control of your team and you can't tell player A, sit down, shut up, and go over there, and they do it, now you're over your head because you don't know what you're doing. When your best player is telling everybody else, like, people will say it's locker room chatter, that I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to hand the ball off, and that's, again, rumor mill, but you see it in the game, and you don't want to do it. Like, now, I have to say, do you have this under control? And if you don't have it under control, that means it's over your head and you can't control the beast that we've given you.
Here you have it. Man, Smoke.
Yeah.
As always, spitting fire, man. I don't know why they call you Smoke. It should have been Fire. But if we could get enough people to follow you and give you that love on social media, we'll find out why they call you Smoke.
Well, you got to tell your man the train wreck. He looks like he got a pretty good following. He says he's a Bama guy. If you're a Bama guy, let's get this Bama train rolling. Let's get
train wreck. Get him going, man.
Train wreck is slipping right now.
Train wreck just got called on the carpet, man. You got called on the carpet, man.
Train wreck, you ain't on your job right now. Right now, you're supposed to be my
Train wreck even called you out one more time. He even said, "Dude, you must be smoking something if you don't think Ryan Day isn't over his head." LOL. They paid $22 million for that roster and then paid for the offensive coordinator to quit his head coaching job. They will be back to also ran status.
Where's train wreck? Look at me. Okay, and listen to me carefully. Okay. The definition of over your head means you've lost control. They won the national championship. the first time playing 16 games. He's figured out that the regular season means nothing. Just get to the show. And whatever rank that they give you, or wherever they say slot you at, whatever position, as long as it's not 13, you're good. Rivalry games mean nothing. They came home with the national championship. Knock it off. The man's not over his head. He should have been coach of the year. Move on. And I ain't a Ryan Day guy because he dyes his beard.
You can't trust anybody that dyes his beard.
Can't trust a man that dyes his beard.
Can't trust a female that owns a snake or a man that dyes his beard. But
yes, that's you're saying that. Just everyone, that's a petty thing. I'm saying the beard, male, nothing female, nothing. That's you.
Add to the list, female owned snake will slit your throat in the middle of your sleep. I'm just telling you. Hey, facts of life, man. You don't like it? That is. Hey.
How many people? Listen. No.
I'm just telling you. Just them facts. Them facts.
Like what's your evidence with snakes and females and slit throats? What does that mean? Because they're like an animal.
Not an animal, a snake.
So
that's
snake is
a whole different.
The snake's not an animal.
I'm just telling you, you die. It's like dyeing your beard if a female owns a snake.
Okay. So here goes my logic with guys that dye their beard. Like, you lack self-awareness and you're not happy with who you are. That's why you dye your beard. As an older guy, like, you want to look young. Like, to me, I just want to look like I'm 44. And if it's all gray or it's a little bit salt and pepper, I'm solid with that. Because I don't want them young boys to run up on me and think they want to fight me. Old man, they leave me alone. But when you lack awareness and you're so worried about like perception of the world, how they view you, yeah, I can't trust you because you're never trusting yourself. So that's my reasoning. You got something else about the snake and throat. Enjoy.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm just giving you facts, Smoke. With that said, Ken Affey, Trainwreck, Brian Russell, FF from all the people, and Tough as Nails, all our people that are in the chat. If I'm missing you, we love you. Glenn Teague, Trainwreck, we thank you for showing up every week. We know you love Smoke and all of his hot takes that he gives you. But come back next week. With that said, this is the opening kick. We've gone a little longer tonight. We were cutting up, talking a little ball. Sometimes we get a little excited here. But there's a big week coming here on the Bama Standard tomorrow with the Bama Standard. I think we got Kenny Smith.
Big game Kenny, 88, going live.
Dude used to wreck shit on that defensive line. And maybe a future line wrecker, London Simmons, future Alabama defensive lineman, will also be on tomorrow night with Justin Riley, Smoke, Marvin Constant, Stephen Smith, Steve Brown, and Bo Scarborough, I think, has been popping in a lot lately.
Come on back, Bo.
Come on back. Then
you know what? Before we even get to the next show, let's get to this right here. Marvin Constant. Okay. Last week, you tried to put some BS out there about the DMV head cracker himself, Marvin Brown. I had to let the world know. And again, my phone was going off all day. Reggie Miles called me. Boogie called and said, "Hey man, I appreciate it." Oh yeah, 2-3. 2-3 is one of the few guys I've seen get Boogie, but that was a knock back, not a knockout. And even Reggie called and said, "Hey Smoke, listen, yeah, I didn't want to see Boogie every day. I just happened to catch him slipping and got him." Marvin saying that he was willing and wanting that every day, he's darn sure lying. And we all on that 98 and 99 team knew that. So Marvin, listen, I understand that you got to carry on this persona of, Mr. Muslim guy and nobody wants to challenge me. But whenever you put smoke on, you know that I'm telling you the truth. And only going to give you the truth. Yes, when Boogie went at it, but you didn't wake up. Yeah, you are crazy in that. You probably didn't.
Marvin's wired different.
Yeah, he's wired different, but his lips tell you wrong information. He wasn't winning every battle against Boogie. Boogie won a majority of those. And there wasn't a soul other than Marvin that was waking up willingly and wanting to see Boogie. Boogie's the dude that cats on the line was like 1, 2, 3. Oh, Boogie's the fourth guy. Let me go back to 5.
I'm gonna go fifth.
Got out the play. So sorry about that. So we might get a little bit of that tomorrow too. Sorry.
All right. Stay tuned for the follow-up to the Marvin maybe overstepping his muscle talking bounds a little bit and going to get put in his place. And I know everybody loves to see Marvin get put in his place. So show up tomorrow night for that. Then stay tuned an hour later for the final whistle. Me, Matt Goodell, Chris James, Lou Shine, Ty Hayes, Dan James, the gang. Then the following night, CC on the Crimson Dynasty with Dan James and JB. And then following up on that, man, the man, the myth, the legend, George Teague on Teague's Take at 8:15. Then Thursday night, come back with us, man. We're talking Bama basketball at 7:30, going hard in the paint. If you're not paying attention, man, state of Alabama's playing a little bit of college basketball right now. Alabama and Auburn are on a crash course as #1 seeds in the Big Dance. So catch us on Thursday. And then Sunday night, talking Bama at 7:30 with JT, JB, and the gang. I think Stephen Smith pops on that. And then me and my man Smoke back here on Monday nights. Smoke, where can they find you?
Listen, they can find me all over the place, but you can really find me and have this conversation. Coach G.V. Dixon. V is for Valentine. That's my middle name. It's coming up. Going to buy a whole bunch of people roses, but there's only a few ladies that's get them. Wife and my family members. But Coach G.V. Dixon on X.
Awesome. And catch me on Petty_Daniel on same thing. And man, catch me all over this lovely network called the Bama Standard. Like, subscribe so you can get all of your Bama Standard. Go to whitwillsports.com, give them love. Go to lambstone.com, give them love. And we will see you next week. Love you all.
Petty, I need that 5-figure discount on the stones, bro.
I mean, we'll look it up.
I need to get everything in my house done for free.
If I can make Miss Dixon happy, if I can put a smile on her, I'll get some stone your way.
Good luck.
I hear you, brother. Till next time, see you guys. Roll Tide and all that good stuff.